Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heal vs Babyface. Now over the course of the last couple of days, I've been looking at some of the artifact weapon talents for various, well I'd say various classes. I've looked at the Warlock, and then I looked at fishing, because there's actually going to be an artifact weapon for fishing. True story, check yesterday's video. Now, I put out the call for requests, and then, of course, I do what I always do. I read through them, and then I do what I want. And I thought I would actually bring you today the video for Survival Hunter. Now, I haven't just picked this off the top of my head to piss people off. No, I've thought about this thoroughly before pissing people off. Because the Survival Hunter is completely changing in Legion, and I really like the idea about classes that are going through a revival, going through a complete and utter change. So what's going to happen is it's no longer a ranged class. Survival Hunters are actually going to be melee, but still have access to a pet. So you've still got that option. So it's going to be quite intriguing, because their artifact weapon is Talon Claw, Spear of the Wild Gods. Do you know, for a second when I first read that, I thought it said Wild Goose. Maybe it was psychological. That would have been so cool. Talon Claw, Spear of the Wild Goose. Kind of really just like setting up and then failing right at the end. Now, as ever, with the artifact weapons, you start off at the big gold and shiny ability. That's your starting point wherever you begin. So this one is Fury of the Eagle. It's an instant spell, 8-yard range, strikes all enemies in a cone, dealing damage to them. Nondescript damage. This ability is empowered by stacks of Mongoose Bite. Okay, so quite interesting in the fact that Blizzard haven't put any sort of damage modifiers here whatsoever. You know, not like X% of physical power, or, you know, X% of crit chance, or yada yada yada. No, dealing damage to enemies in the cone. That's as much as we get for that. So, not really too much we can go into. So let's move up. The next ability, we got to take this one, although it is 3-pointer, so you can decide how many points go inside of this. Ladies. Sharpened Beak increases the damage of your Mongoose Bite by 6% for 1 point, and then it goes to 10% and then to 13% with 3 points. So those two synergistically go together. That's an increase to Mongoose Bite damage, and that, of course, is empowered by stacks of Mongoose Bite. So Mongoose Bite is an ability which is going to stack. There, we've learned a couple of things already. Just not the damage modifier for Fury of the Eagle. From here, we break off into 3 different avenues. So we have, at the top, Hell Carver. Carve increases in damage by 6% for 1 point, 10% for 2 points, 13% for 3 points for each target hit. So it sounds like Hell Carver is a cleave, but other than that, it's just a damage modifier. If we go to the middle one, we have My Beloved Monster. That's a great name. Increases the critical strike chance of Flanking Strike. I think that's, again, another new ability then. By 6% for 1. Should go to 10, yeah, for 2. And 13, therefore, for 3. Again, can't talk too much about this. It's just a damage modifier. And then the bottom one, you know, ramp up DPS, is Raptor's Cry. Increases the damage of your Raptor Strike by 10%. Raptor Strike's, that's a current ability, isn't it? Pretty sure that's a current ability that Survival have. So it's 10% for 1 point, 15 for 2 points, and 20% for 3 points. And then if we all merge, because these all converge onto the next one, this is Strength of the Mountain. Increases your physical damage by 4%, 6% for 2 points, and 8% for 3 points. I'm just going to stop it right there. Okay, now I've gone through what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 abilities. Starting from the spell at the beginning, Fury of the Eagle. And I've got to say, so far, this is pretty dull. I mean, it's pretty dull in as much as when I did the Warlock ones and even the fishing ones, we sort of like had a damage ramp up like we've had, and then we sort of went to something a little bit niche. For example, with the Affliction Warlocks, we went to the Health Stone one. Your Health Stones fully heal you. Or when an ally uses a Health Stone of yours, it heals you for as much health as they get back. So really kind of cool little things like that. So we've had spell, or, you know, ability, without giving any damage modifiers. DPS ramp up, DPS ramp up, DPS ramp up, DPS ramp up, DPS ramp up. So there's nothing there which is kind of like really broken it up. Here, sharpened beak. That probably would have been the perfect opportunity to put something a little bit niche right there and just break this up. Because at the minute it's a little flat. And then, of course, it just goes into the damage modifier right here. So we've really got to hope that branching away, because it does now branch into 4 different areas. We've got 4 options that we can go to right now. Seriously, bring something a little bit interesting to the table. And just another thing of note as well. Normally, it takes you 4 steps to get to your first golden dragon. You're going to have to go through, what? Well, there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... So 5 or 6 before you even get to one here. So, yeah, survival hunters. Eek. Let's go down. Ladies again. Let's pick this one. Exhilaration of Joy reduces the cooldown of exhilaration by 10 seconds each time you kill successfully, or 15 seconds for 2 points, 20 seconds for 3 points. So exhilaration, again, sounds like something that's new coming to survival. So that's a cooldown reduction. So at least it's not a DPS ramp up. But, you know, we're still waiting for that oomph. But looking at the way that they all seem to have 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, I'm not kind of holding out for any sort of nice utilities at the moment. So that would take us to Hunter's Guile. Reduces the cooldown of your traps. At least you've still got traps as survival, by 20% for 1 point, 20% for 2 points, 20% for 3 points. No. So obviously they haven't quite been worked upon. So it might go 20%, 30%, 40%. Might go 20%, 25, 30. So they're yet to obviously be determined. And that will take us to our first golden dragon, which is Aspect of the Skylord. Aspect of the Eagle now also increases your damage by 30% while active. Now, that is a significant DPS increase. Again, nothing, you know, like, whoopity-doo kind of exciting. I mean, some of the other golden dragons which we've gone to, they seem to have some rather kind of cool spells. Again, this is just a direct damage ramp up. You know, do you tell me what you think in the comment section down below here, folks? But if I was somebody looking to go into Survival Hunter, something completely new, completely different, breaking away from being ranged, going into melee, and this is your artifact weapon, I just think that the layout is dull. Everything just seems to be, you know, this is a damage increase by X%. I'd like to see more utility on there. There isn't any nice little bits of utility so far. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. So let's go back to Strength of the Mountain and jump to the right-hand side. Embrace of the Wild reduces damage taken by 6% for 1 point, 10% for 2 points, or 13% by 3 points. So we've just got a standard damage mitigation. I think we've seen that on every spec of every artifact thus far, and I have seen a few more, and it does appear on other people's. That would take us across to Tharshibler's. Harpoon's cooldown is reset when you kill or disengage. Now that's interesting, because I don't understand why this is currently showing 3 points, so I don't think that's going to be a 3-pointer. I think that's just going to be a 1-pointer. That just looks like a 1-point ability to me. Harpoon's cooldown, whatever Harpoon may be. But I think Harpoon is, from what I can remember, actually from BlizzCon, my mind, it remembers things. I think Harpoon is like Life Grip. Not Life Grip, Death Grip. I think you harpoon a target and either drag them to you or you zap over to them. It's currently in the game, you know. I've just thought of this. I've just had another... My God, my brain is... Synapses are firing today. It's actually in the game. Frostfire Ridge. You've got the Thunderlord orcs, haven't you? And when they buy... for again, what I can remember... When they buy the one of the carcasses of the huge Gron, there is actually a group of them with some Rylac that will shrink... Get over here and grab you and drag you across. So Harpoon is technically in the game at the moment. And then that will take us across to another golden dragony from behind. Ladies, you have been well serviced this video. From behind, already my favourite spell in the World of Warcraft ever. Don't care what it is. I'm not even reading it. I've looked away to my second monitor. Don't even need to read what it is. It's just the best spell in the world. And I love you for that, Bliss. God damn it. I love you. So from behind, giggity. When your pet generates, unless it's the pet, in which case we're going into some very dodgy ground here. When your pet generates a charge of Mongoose Strike, you gain 5% crit for 6 seconds. There's only 1 point going in there at the moment, so it's a little bit of a DPS ramp up, but again, just not kind of that sexifying, you know, ability that you would expect. Warlock's got some good ones. I've already looked at some Death Knight and some Mage ones, kind of given an idea of what's coming up in next future videos, and they've got some really sexy ones for the golden dragon. But so far, we've got, you know, a crit increase. Kind of bog standardy, really, and then all right, a serious DPS increase, but just a DPS increase nonetheless. So it hasn't really sparked to life, this one, really. So we go back again to Strength of the Mountain, take the top route this time. Fluffy, go! Increases the haste. What the fuck? Were they on crack when they made this one? Seriously, from behind. Fluffy go. I'm sure there's some other one. Darsh blows. Okay, so increases the haste of your pet by 5%, and that would go to 5% at 5%. So that'll probably go to 5%, what, 8%, 10%, do you think? Or it could go 5%, 10%, 15%. So again, some values still not worked upon there. Remember, you know, don't give MMO Champ a hard time. This are the very early stages. Stuff is still in alpha, so, you know, don't panic, folks. But that's a pet haste buff right there. So let's go back to Strength of the Mountain, go to the other side. Jagged Claws increases the bleed damage from your laceration by 6%, 10%, 13%. That does seem to be kind of like the standard fare. So we now know that laceration puts a bleed dot on the target, and we get to also find out another spell for survival hunters. And then there's a little like a trap, which it takes us through to here. Yeah, Superior Trapper increases the size of your traps by 10%, and then the modifiers, the other two modifiers for the other two points in there haven't been arranged yet. So it could go 10, 20, 30. That's what I imagine. Or 10, 15, 20. Those would be the two that I would seriously think that they go to. So somewhere between 20 and 30%. We can put it into that kind of bracket. And then finally, up here we have Hunter's Fortune. Harpoon applies on the trail a unique damage over time effect that deals 50% of spell power damage over 12 seconds. You know, just imagine this terminology is going to change. Everything is subject to change. These are kind of early doors. I don't imagine survival is going to have spell power. So yeah, we won't look too much into that. So 50% of damage over 12 seconds and is refreshed by auto attacks. Okay, so that's applying a dot onto the target, and then it's being maintained from there on in, because literally your basic auto attacks, because you are melee, is going to constantly refresh it. So it's you know, a decent kind of a dotty damage. But all in all, And we don't have the relics at the top either, so this is clearly a work in progress. So all in all, I think this is going to undergo quite a bit of change. You know, I'm not going to start, you know, bitching and crying to Blizz or anything like that. Everything is subject to change, and I think this is one of the artifact weapons which I think is probably going to undergo a substantial change. There isn't too much kind of fun utility in it, which we have seen on other ones. It definitely misses that. It definitely feels as if it misses that. And it is quite interesting that it does take a while longer for a hunter to get to their goldens than it does for other specs as well. So something, you know, things like that could easily be addressed over the course of the alpha and the beta. But if you are planning on becoming a survival hunter, what are your initial thoughts? Are you in agreement with me that this looks a bit kind of generic and could do with some spice? Or are you just kind of like liking the basic factor of it? Is it something that you appreciate? Just like, yeah, no, that's fine. I can just appreciate the DPS ramp ups all across the board. You know, I don't need any bells and whistles to really kind of drag me in or get my attention on that. Again, I'd love to hear thoughts and feelings in the comments section down below. And always keep it coming what specs you'd like to see next. There will be more coming very, very soon indeed. And I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links are in the description down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.